Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, Mega Mike, the Movie Man. We have a super fun stream planned for you all tonight. We're talking our 5 favorite films of 2024. Also, we'll get into some most anticipated films towards the end for the new year, and then some honorable mentions, of course. So I'm very excited to talk these movies we absolutely love. So just some reminders here. If you love movies, make sure you smash that like and subscribe, of course, notification bell, get alerted on new live streams. And then, of course, if you want to unlock some giveaways out there, we do have, a ton of different Blu-rays. I'm always trying to give away free stuff, but, we have to reach some goals here. So if we can get at least like 3 either super chats or 3 memberships out there, I'll definitely give away a Blu-ray or maybe even a 4K. I got some 4Ks out there too. Maybe even some digital codes. We have a lot of stuff to give away, people. So we'll see if we can unlock some of that tonight. So the goal right now is a combination of either, like I said, 3 super chats or 3 memberships. Pretty simple. All right, awesome. So I think we're ready, everybody. Try to stay muted until I get to you if you're giving some feedback on your mic, because I think I hear a little bit of feedback out there. Not sure who it is, but just monitor that. But yeah, so we will get into first, I guess, our 5th favorite film of 2024. So number 5 for me, and I definitely got to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. If you even saw this one, many people did not see this movie, just straight up. It came out in January, so a very early movie, but it was the first movie of 2024 where I'm like, wow, that was way more entertaining than I expected. And I kind of want to go back to watch it a second time. I didn't, but I had that initial thought. So, if you're a musical fan, this was my personal favorite musical of the year, and that's going to be the Mean Girls remake. I actually really liked what this one did. Yeah, Grant, this one was pretty awesome. To me, it took nothing away from the original Mean Girls because this was based off the Broadway show, so completely different iteration here. And the musical numbers were fantastic. I absolutely love the musical numbers. They were really fun and charming. The cast was excellent here. It made me laugh. It did everything I wanted from a Mean Girls musical and more. So because it just pleasantly surprised me and not enough people saw it, I'm going to have to say that as my 5th favorite film of the year. So I know Grant saw Mean Girls. Anybody else see Mean Girls out there? Nate doesn't look as, I don't know if that's a cheerful smile or a mischievous smile from Nate.
I'm glad you liked it. I'll say I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's awesome.
Rob, did you say you saw that one?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it was in my top 5, but yeah, I did see it.
Wow,
I agree with Rob. Same sentiment.
Yeah, it's cool that you liked it. It's nice to see that,
I will say this: I saw 112 releases, and it probably in my top 100 for sure.
Okay, I'll take that.
Top 100.
I'll take
better
that.
than 12 other ones that I saw. Top 100.
Top 100, not bad. All right, Fish, did you see this one? Because I know you're a musical fan.
I did not, and I'm a musical lover, and but here's the thing: is I have such a fondness for the original movie so much. It came out when I was in my mid-20s, so I don't know. I just felt a little nostalgia for it. I've loved it for 20 years. I watch it constantly. It's one I can put on all the time, and it's always great. I just could not. I was not even excited when they had the musical on Broadway. That's how much I love this movie so much. I'm like, no, why? What's the point? Why? No, why? So when it came out in theaters, I'm definitely like, no, why? What's the point? So, yeah, I did not, and I probably will not ever see that movie. Yeah.
Man, wow. Arrow through the heart right here.
Sorry, Mike. Man. Sorry, but yeah, I have such a fondness and a love for the original film that I worked at the theater, so trust me, I worked the show. I saw bits and pieces of it. It's not like I didn't see any of it, and I don't know. I don't know.
I'll give it one credit. I thought Renee Rapp, I think is her name.
Yeah,
I thought she was very good in it. Her singing was good. She's no Rachel McAdams, but she was still good. It was just mostly everyone else didn't really do it. The girl who played Katie was not.
Yeah,
even
no.
close.
From what I saw, Katie. Yeah, no.
But Renee Rapp was good. So there you go. I liked her.
Wow, man, I'm starting off not very strong here. Dang.
Well, it's your list. It's whatever you want.
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it will get worse as we go on. Knowing what happened with that fifth one, I don't think it's going to get much better, but we'll see what happens there. But Grant, you like that one, right? You would give it a thumbs up?
Yeah. I watched this movie in January, and when it was announced, I knew that it was going to be a musical because it was originally titled as Mean Girls the Musical, and they had to switch it from Paramount Plus to theaters, which was a huge surprise on my mark. But I did enjoy this movie, and I recognized the cast, by the way. I remembered the principal that did the original film was in this film. Both Tina Fey and, of course, the other one, which I can't remember right on top of my head. But I knew right into it that it was going to be a musical, and I love this movie. Cannot wait to see what Paramount does with another musical, which I'm already hands-on. Just a little bit, air quotes on my part.
There we go. I'm not alone in the Mean Girls love, so that's a good thing. All right, Nate.
All right.
I feel like you're confident in your number 5.
Yeah,
so.
and I think if anyone here probably have me and Rob, I think might have some crossovers. He's the one I'm worried about. That's gonna maybe because I know he's the horror guy too. I have some horror in my top 5. So my number 5 is gonna be a movie that I was kind of surprised, similar to you, Mike, that you were surprised that you liked it. I wouldn't say I'm surprised I liked it. I'm gonna say I'm surprised I liked it this much. So my number 5 is a little A24 film called Heretic, starring Hugh Grant. I thought his performance alone, amazing. Loved it. And the writing it's not scary. I know it's a horror film. It's not very scary, but the writing was so good. The dialogue, interesting, got my brain going a little bit. Makes you think, or maybe it doesn't. I do know a few people who didn't jive with it, and I totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it. It is a bit talky for a horror film, but I thought the performances were great. I thought the setup was great, and this from the guys who did A Quiet Place, or they wrote the first 2 Quiet Place movies, and then they did that Adam Driver movie with the dinosaurs. This was significantly better than that movie. I really like that movie. So, Heretic is my number 5. Yeah, 65.
Awesome.
Man, that movie just bored me in the second half, though. Like, I really like the premise,
right?
And then it doesn't go too much farther than that. It's really just set in that one location, and like you said, a lot of talkie. And at first, I'm with it, but then I'm like, "Are we gonna do anything else with this?" And no.
Yeah. I feel that, and that's why it's 5, because I didn't love the third act. I wouldn't say I loved the first 2 acts, and then I liked the third act. So that's why it's not higher. But I could totally see where you're coming from.
Rob, did you like that one?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did have it on my list of my tops when I was going through what I saw this year. And the reason it just didn't make my top was that exact thing where I loved the first half, even the middle of the movie, but there was things at the end of it that really threw me off, that kind of had me and then that last second scene, if anybody remembers, it made me think a million different things, which I'm what happened? Is it meant this way? So that's why the movie kind of confused me towards the end, but the rest of it was phenomenal. The writing, Hugh Grant was great.
Oh, well shot too. For just being in a house, it looks gorgeous most of the time.
Yep.
So, yeah. But I agree. The end scene is kind of what is what am I supposed to think? I kind of like it that you can decide, but
exactly.
I feel like I'm probably similar to you, Rob, and I also like a definitive ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else see that one on the panel?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys aren't missing much, so that's okay. It's all Mean Girls.
Yeah. Let's watch Mean Girls again.
Let's go. Yes, sing-along edition. All right, we got to point out a couple members in here. We got Tiana Loves Movies, of course, and we got the Crazy Guy 2002. So once again, memberships seem pretty popular here this year. So yeah, definitely consider that. Like I said, we have some giveaways here. Fish, what is your fifth favorite movie?
Oh, fifth favorite movie. I would probably have to go with something that probably a lot of people didn't like. But I love the way it was shot. I love the soundtrack. The cast was great. I'm a big tennis fan, so I love
Oh, I
tennis.
do.
Tennis is like it's right up there with basketball for me. So my number 5 is the Challengers. Zendaya and Yang. So I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, the soundtrack was fantastic. Cinematography was great. I love the way it was shot, especially when they were playing tennis. How it was the angles and everything. It was I thought it was great. I love the premise of the love triangle, and literally it could have been like any way in that triangle, all three of them, or yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I really did. I really enjoyed this movie.
Man, I really didn't.
I know you didn't.
And I want to rant on it, but I got to keep it family friendly, so I can't really rant on it. That's the toughest part of this right
Do the
now.
family-friendly version of the rant. It doesn't
There's
exist.
no way to do it.
Let's hear it,
What
Mike.
I'm thinking. I will say some good things though. The sound, phenomenal. Probably one of the best sound design for a movie.
Won the Golden Globe.
Absolutely, exactly.
The
Yeah,
score won the
amazing.
Globe.
And they actually made tennis pretty entertaining. So when you're in the tennis matches, that's probably the most exciting part of the movie for me. To me, just the drama stuff and the triangle, whatever you want to call it, just was not working for me. Just But that's
Yeah,
me. I think everybody else loved it. Nate, you love that one?
I did. It's firmly in my top 10. So I enjoyed it. I thought same thing, like even just the way it's shot. Like there's a scene in there where they're playing tennis and it's shot from underneath. Like it looks like they're on a glass floor almost.
Right.
And it's so creative, and the music is going. And there's a tennis match, and like it doesn't really have anything to do with the plot other than this is cool and I like it. And so, but the plot is good, and I think all three performers were great. Subject matter, I could see where it could be like, I don't love this, because they're all kind of bad people at the end. Like they're not the best people,
Right.
obviously. But I enjoyed the film a lot. I agree.
All right.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person that wasn't the movie for me type of person. You know, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Grant, you like that one? Did you see that one?
I did not know that this movie was going to get a Golden Globe because how controversial of... I don't want to say too much because Sunny is here and it's a PG show, but I'm just going to say it right here that it was very uncomfortable for me to watch those scenes. But I'll just say that Challengers was better than Sasquatch Sunset, which is probably one of the worst movies I have seen.
You ain't lying. Grant, you ain't lying. If we were doing the bottom list, that's number
Yeah,
one.
it's on the bottom list.
Oh
And
wow.
And Nate, did you get your $6 back?
No, they still owe me. Rich. Still owe me.
All right.
All right, Grant, take it away. What's your fifth favorite?
All right. Let's see.
Whose major itinerary is making all us merrier.
All right, there you
Wait,
go.
kid.
Yeah, we don't want to get copyrighted, Grant, so don't play music too long here now.
No, this is the only time. Wicked is my number 5. I love this movie. A huge prominent to the cast. Cynthia Erivo as Alphaba, really, really good. And Ariana Grande as Glenda, very well spot on. The story I really enjoyed. And I cannot wait for the next part, which comes out in November. And it's actually in the same place as my most anticipated movie called Wicked for Good. So I can't give it like a full score as of yet, but the story, the music, the direction, and I'm just gonna say good moments from Wicked absolutely drew me in. But Wicked is my number 5, and if you guys have any feedback, now is the time to say what are your full thoughts on Wicked, because I freaking love this movie so much that it's going straight into my collection within a year.
All right. Anybody else see Wicked and loved it?
I did.
It was in my top, yeah.
That's in my top 5. Absolutely.
It was okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I felt the same way, Nate. I'm like, it was fine.
no, I loved it. The fact that I'd never seen the Broadway play or the musical, and so I was going in blind. I kind of knew I knew it was kind of like a prequel ish, so but I didn't I didn't know the storyline of it. So, man, after watching this, it makes me watch or makes me think of the Wizard of Oz in a whole different light. If I think about that movie and want to watch it, I have a different view on it now. It's crazy. Because growing up, you think Wizard of Oz, Wizard Good, Glinda the Good, she's the good witch. And then watching this, it just makes you look at everything in a different light. So I love that aspect. I love taking a story that you know and love so much and then like turning it on its ear and having a different take on it. So I found it fantastic. The fact that they're singing live is wonderful. Live on set, that's fantastic.
And everything that went into the set, them planting like 9 million roses or petals and building all the sets, and it, like watching it was total cinema for me. Like I'm sitting in IMAX just watching this movie and thinking like I never cared for musicals, but this one just blew me away.
Man, it's no Mean Girls. I can tell you that.
That's for dang sure.
I wish I felt.
I will say that this is the best way to watch Wicked if you haven't seen the Broadway play. In part 2, if you want to see the Broadway play right before part 2, do not, because it will ruin some of the storylines a little bit within part 2. I just want to give you a heads up for anyone that is seeing Wicked for Good.
All right, Nate,
I was going to say, I wish I felt the same way. That I wish that I liked it as much as everyone who liked it liked it. You know what I mean? Like, I hear people, they talk about it in these glowing terms, and I agree. I actually agree with Rob. Like, the production design is great. Beautiful. The performances were actually good. I liked them. I didn't have a problem with it. But I thought, I don't even remember the only song I remember is that last one. No, the last one, the big one where they're all yelling. Yeah, that one, because it was on all the commercials. Other than that, the popular one, that was kind of catchy. Other than that, I don't really remember the songs. And unlike Fish, and this is where I'll go opposite. Mike, I don't know if this is why you didn't like it or not, or didn't like it as much, but I don't love sort of revisionist takes on stuff. So like, when you have a classic like Wizard of Oz and then you take it and then you just totally change it, I don't love it. So I know like it's the same thing that happened with like Maleficent, right? Like she's evil in Sleeping Beauty. And then we're going to make her sympathetic and we're going to make her the hero kind of. And I'm not a fan. I just make her bad. And why is she bad? I'd rather know why they're really bad than they're not really bad. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just couldn't get into it the same way, but it was cute. I guess it's long too. It was very long.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
it felt
way
long.
too long.
42 minutes.
Way too long. Yeah. Will here says, I haven't seen it. I don't believe I'll be a fan, but so many people like it. I think I'm going to check it out. Will, if you don't think you're going to like it, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Yeah. Check out something you're more interested in first. Now, if it pops up on streaming, you want to preview it a little bit and then see if it jives with you and then keep going, go for it. But I would check out a movie you're more interested in first. But all right. Yeah. Wicked. There we go.
Love
Great
it.
pick.
Love it.
All right. Who are we on to now? We're on to Rob, right?
Rob.
Alrighty, so for my number 5, I went with something that I've been anticipating for a while. They've been talking about it. It was a great cast. The sound is great. I love the director. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. For me, I saw it a week early. I got to see it, which was awesome, and then I probably saw it 3 more times after that. I loved seeing Beetlejuice back in the theater. I loved the quirks and the fact that they still did the whole he's only in the movie for 17 minutes, you know? And with it being my number 5, I did see some flaws with it. Like I thought Jenna Ortega could have not been in the movie and the movie still would have been great. But besides that, I liked everything about it. And I liked going back to that town and back to just to the old to what Tim Burton used to do, because I feel like a lot of his recent movies have been flops, and I felt that this one really showed us that if he wants to do more stuff like this, he should. Because I enjoyed it. Didn't and I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, so I want to hear what everybody has to say.
So I like this one, but why are you going after Ortega right there? Ortega was the best actor in the movie. Come on now. I thought she was great in the movie. To me, I thought she was better than, Winona Ryder. That's just my own personal preference there.
I don't know. I disagree. She plays the same role she plays in every movie.
I know. And it's amazing.
Yeah, she's just Wednesday in this. Like, it's like, come on. I'm just
Perfect
not.
fit. Perfect
No, but
fit.
you can't play the same role every time.
So I don't have to. So you're saying I don't have to watch Wednesday?
No, just watch this. It's shorter.
Wow, shots fired.
Dude.
She's good. No, I like her. In this, I didn't like her as much. I thought Catherine O'Hara stole the whole movie almost from everybody. She was hilarious.
Yep.
I like a lot of the Easter eggs, and I enjoyed it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. I was worried. I was like, this is so much later. And it turned out to be fun. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I agree with Burton. It felt like a Tim Burton movie for the first time in a long time.
Yep.
What do
he
you
fell
think,
off
Grant?
once he started doing Disney stuff. I was like, this isn't what I remember Burton doing. And then I saw this, and I'm like, the soundtrack alone, I felt great.
So I did watch Beetlejuice the day that it came out, and the reason why I watched it was because of Jenna Ortega. Because after the performance of Wednesday, I wouldn't say fell in love with her, because she is kind of around my age a little bit, because I don't want to give away too much. But she did really good in Beetlejuice, and coming up season 2 of Wednesday, which I am pumped for. But Beetlejuice, one of the favorite Horror Fest movies that I've done throughout 2024. Even though that the sequel was worthy, should we get it? Probably not. Probably stick with the original. But the sequel was a worthy one, and leading up to the original. And if they do a third one, it may be divisive at first, but it could be a good film upward. So that's what my full thoughts are. Beetlejuice, mainly because of Jenna Ortega. That's the reason why.
Yeah. And the costumes and makeup were phenomenal in that movie.
Oh, fantastic.
The designs of all the characters were amazing.
I did have some issues with it. I will say that. I did enjoy it for what it was, but being a kid of the 80s and growing up with this as one of my childhood favorites, the original I'm speaking of, the musical numbers went on a little too long, especially that last one and in the chapel.
Mhm.
That I could have done without, or at least 10 minutes less. So in the whole, I was excited when they brought Monica Bellucci in to be his wife, so I was excited about that aspect, but then they really didn't go anywhere, in my opinion, or do anything with her with it. So it was just wasted. Her performance was wasted. I didn't see a point. She was running around, and they don't ever see each other till the very end, and then it was very short-lived. The showdown, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I just felt that was a wasted opportunity there. And how did she get her finger back? He had her finger in the first movie. I should get it back. So that's another thing, right? But overall, I did enjoy it. Performance-wise, fantastic. I love the fact that it did bring me back into that world. Like I said, I'm a kid of the 80s. I was born in 77, grew up with this movie. So, yeah, it was nice to revisit. But there were some things that weren't perfect. So, yeah.
All right. Dimension, what's your fifth favorite?
All right, so my fifth favorite is a movie that I actually forgot it came out during the year until I watched a couple of videos of going over their favorite movies of 2024, and that's Bad Boys Ride or Die.
That's a good choice.
Tons of
That's a fun choice.
Tons of action, and it's entertaining. I love Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in their roles. I was not a massive Bad Boys fan back then when those films were directed by Michael Bay. But when I saw Bad Boys 3, which was For Life, right before COVID, I was like, oh, wow, this is surprisingly fun. I really am familiar with these actors, and these movies, they provide a lot of action for me because I'm a huge action fan. And so I think now that I've seen Bad Boys 3 and 4, what I enjoyed about this one is we continue to see that relationship grow between Will Smith's character and his son. He is awesome. And working together like a family, it was amazing. And I really laughed at Martin Lawrence's character eating candy in the movie to him. And maybe a spoiler alert. When Martin Lawrence's character collapses when during Will Smith's wedding, I was like, "Wow, is he in the dead world?" And then it turns out that he ended up in the hospital in a coma, and it's just funny what happens in that hospital. So I think these Bad Boys movies, they're really getting a lot better. So if we get a Bad Boys 5, I'm in.
Yeah, great choice there. I actually might like that one the best too out of all the Bad Boys movies. Like you said, the comedy was on point there. The action was great. Just the chemistry between the characters. You wouldn't think so after all these years later, but it was even better. So I really like their banter back and forth. Did you guys like the Bad Boys Ride or Die right there? Or I mean, yeah.
Reggie too. Reggie got the best scene in the whole movie. They're amazing. Oh yeah, good movie. I'm not the biggest fan of that franchise. It's funny because I think I like all of them, but it's just not high up on my action list. But I think the last two were really strong. They were fun. They had good action. They're not 2.5 hours like Bad Boys 2, so that's good. And yeah, I think Martin Lawrence and Will Smith still got great chemistry. I had a good time at that movie.
Oh. Did anybody else see that Bad Boys movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Rob, you did?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. I just, once you get to the fourth movie, I'm kind of like, I've seen Bad Boys, I've seen it, but a lot of people enjoyed it. So I have the first three on my shelf, and I enjoy them, but no explosions like Michael Bay. So
Fair.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
All right, Sunny, what was your fifth favorite?
My fifth favorite of the year was actually Willy Wonka. I always been a fan of his movies from top to bottom, and I just loved how they told his before story, and I liked the concept and everything. It was just so well put together, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a really good choice right there. The musical numbers were really solid in that one. And I like that movie didn't really take anything away from the original. Like, it didn't really hurt Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at all. It just gave some more added backstory, and Timothée Chalamet was really good in that role. So I like that movie. I thought it was a delight. The music was really good. So
Yeah. And the concept was so put together. It was amazing.
did you guys like Willy Wonka?
I loved it.
I
It was
did.
cute. Oh, yeah, I thought it was cute.
Awesome.
I mean, it's from the director of Paddington and Paddington 2, so it has that sort of whimsy to it. Yeah,
Yep.
it was an easy watch. I didn't really have any problems with it.
The same director is also going to be doing that Prince Charming movie with Chris Hemsworth, which is in writing right away. Filming will start this year, and hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully, it's going to be a good film than the other. Well, I'm not going to say past Disney live action remakes because we did get Mufasa: The Lion King, and I thought it was solid, but. Paul King knows what he's doing with his film career. He's doing really good with Wonka, and he's doing a Disney one. So just want to give you right off the bat.
Nice.
All right, so that goes through our first round here. So now we're getting into our fourth favorite film of 2024. So for me, this one was another kind of unexpected, delightful surprise. I didn't even know my theater was going to get this movie because it had such a limited release, but then it got such great reviews and it got released to more theaters. So it finally showed up at a local one near me, and Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, was excellent. Oh my gosh, this was an awesome documentary. Just the emotions it hit you with. And I didn't even know too much about Christopher Reeve besides the Superman movies. I didn't really know his life story, but the documentary went over, I'm guessing, all the major parts of his life, because you got to see kind of a big scope of just everything he went through, all the charitable work he's done, you know, his relationships with his family. So they did a really good job of informing like a documentary should, but it was never boring. It was very entertaining. It would grip you with emotion, so you'd be interested in it the whole time. And so, yeah, for documentaries, it's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. So really like that one. Did anybody else catch that one by chance? I know documentaries are usually the most popular out there, but Grant, you saw that one. How'd you like it?
It was pretty okay. I didn't enjoy it like the way that you did, but it was a solid documentary. Not in the way of saying like, oh, this is the best documentary ever. But no. It went up and down for me. And this one was a solid documentary, but I wouldn't say that this was the best documentary of 2024. But it did had some good elements between the Christopher Reeve story, even though that I am not a fan of DC, even though that I do love Marvel more than DC. This one was a solid one, and I would have to give it like a 3 stars on Letterboxd just for entertainment and solid performances. So good documentary, but I would not watch it again.
Didn't get you crying?
Did you cry, Mike?
I cried. I
Okay.
cried. Yeah, I was bawling.
That's why I'm holding off. I'm saving up my tears because I know I'm gonna bawl like a little girl because once again, he's my Superman. He's my Superman. I grew up with him. You know, I know the story. You know, I know everything, the whole accident and the foundation and all the stuff, and so I know it's going to hit me hard. So I've been putting it off. I think it's on Max or something. It's streaming somewhere.
Yeah, it's on
Max.
On Max.
And I just have to bite the bullet and sit down and watch it and have my tissues ready, and yeah,
Worth it. Just do it.
You like that one too, Rob?
Yeah, I grew up, watching the Reeves movies. My dad always told me like these are the best superhero movies right here. So, and I'm with them on it. Like those got us to the MCU. I look at it like that. And just watching that, my podcast partner, she is a huge Superman fan. So we sat down at her place one night and just watched that one. And it's fantastic. I was, get the tissues out if you're going to watch that one.
I gotta check it out. It didn't play near me. That's the only reason I didn't see it, because I heard nothing but good things. But if it's on Max, I might watch it this week. Ooh. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh, okay.
All right, Nate, what was your fourth?
Okay.
Favorite?
All right. My number 4 is probably, I don't know about on this panel, maybe, but in general, I feel like it would probably be higher on most people's list, but I like what I like. So I put my number 4 is Dune Part 2. I think it is a great film. I think in every way. And I think Denis Villeneuve is a fantastic director. I mean, the score is good. I liked both parts. I know a lot of people are like, 2 is better than 1 or 1 is better than 2. I feel like it's all one big story, and I like them equally. I don't really think one is significantly better than the other. So the only reason it's 4, though, again, is because of personal preferences. But other than that, I think it's a great sci-fi epic. There's a lot to it. It could be a little difficult to, like really penetrate for most people. But I think if you're into sci-fi or fantasy, because it almost leans more fantasy than sci-fi. Yeah, I thought it was great. So Dune Part 2 is my number 4.
I feel like you guys love Doom Part 2 as well.
Yeah. I was gonna. That's my number 4. So,
Piggyback on.
So continuing on, I'll just throw my little 2 cents for this. I loved it. I love this story. Because I loved growing up with David Lynch's Dune. And to have this like dive more into the lore, more into the story, more into the people. I like it because, like I said, I love Dune, but now watching it, after watching these, it feels a little rushed, So there is the extended cut that Lynch refuses to acknowledge or acknowledge that he had any part to do with. But I do enjoy that one because it does give more story, it does give more background to it. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Performances were fantastic. Cinematography was great. Sound, wonderful. Yeah.
Wow, Doom Part 2 got 2 number 4 so far. I'm like, man, it wouldn't even have made my top 20 of the year. So,
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, I did like it. But I see a lot of movies. I saw like 95 movies at the Regal last year.
Yeah, me too. They sent me my email, and I was like, it was like 112 or something. So
I did quite like Dune Part 2. Like, everything from a filmmaking standpoint was amazing. The sounds, the look of the movie, the costumes, the production, the effects. Like, from a filmmaking standpoint, hit everything. I don't know. I'm not connecting with the characters like I want to, and I'm not connecting to the lore like I want to. I'm like, I connect more to Star Wars. Like Star Wars, I get the feels with the characters, but I don't know. With Dune, I'm not there yet. And I watched all the special features, like to get the lore explained to me, and I'm like, I don't know, something's missing for me.
Have you checked out the series that's out on Max?
Prophecy? No, I heard terrible things about
it.
Really?
I haven't either. So
I'm probably not even gonna watch it.
Everybody has.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love that whole aspect, the Bene Gesserit sisterhood and all that. That's one of my favorite parts in the original movie. Because they're shady.
I did read like some into like the next book, and that part 3 sounds like it's gonna be super weird. So if it's not already weird, it sounds like it gets weirder. But I'm here for it.
No, it definitely gets weirder.
Yeah, I'm here for it. As long as it's the same creative people working on it, I'm here for it.
All right, over to Grant, number 4.
Speaking of emotions, this one hit me the entire way through. Now, I am not going to say that this hit me harder the second time that I watched it, but it drew the emotions in. And I know Mike reviewed this one, saying that it was a tough watch. And that movie is called White Bird, A Wonderful. I love this movie, mainly because I grew up with the Wonder franchise. This one is kind of like a prequel / sequel to this film, kind of like where the bully character gets expelled from school. His grandmother actually has to remind him of a story that she had faced within World War II in Germany. And I will get you to the right end straight. For the third act of the movie, got me teary-eyed, very, very an emotional film. It's like Saving Private Ryan, but with special needs students that got killed within World War II. I am not particular of getting this one right away, but it is going to go straight into my collection because it is a Wonder movie. And the reason why I picked up Wonder was to participate in that film, White Bird, A Wonder Story. And I did watch this movie twice, one of which came out right before it got pushed to the to 2024. So I'm counting this one in as a 2024 release. And I just want to give huge props to Mark Foster, who did World War Z and also the Monsters Ball, which I have not heard ever since that one came out. But the only thing that I recognized him in was World War Z, which made me feel uncomfortable the entire time. But White Bird was a better movie than World War Z. And I am just going to leave it right at that. And if you guys have seen this movie, now is the time to give your full thoughts on this one. And I will advise anyone that is seeing White Bird, get in there with low expectations and also bring tissues as well, because there are some heavy hitters within multiple scenes. So my number 4, White Bird, A Wonder Story.
Absolutely. So I saw that one and I got teary-eyed as well. I mean, totally a surprise movie. I didn't expect anything going into the movie. I don't even think I knew what the plot was before seeing the movie.
I knew.
But if you're into historical dramas, oh my gosh, it does it really well with, you know, the limited characters or settings they have. You even got Helen Mirren in there a little bit. She's phenomenal as always. So yeah, if you want a deep drama where you're gonna maybe cry a little bit, you got to see White Bird. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Did anybody else see that one?
Nope.
Yeah, very underrated movie. Yeah, flew under a lot of people's radar.
I think I saw the trailer for it so long ago, and once they started pushing it and moving it, and it kind of just got lost in the shuffle for me. Like by the time it came out, I was already like, I don't know if I'm gonna see it, and then it was gone. Like it was in the theater for like a week, and then I didn't see it. So I liked Wonder, so maybe I'll check. I like Helen Mirren; she's good.
I'll just say the movie is available on digital for the first time. You might rent this one, but it might be a little bit more better than Sasquatch Sunset, which I'll just get right off the bat. But White Bird might be better than Sasquatch Sunset. I will say you'll get your money's worth on White Bird.
Oh. I won't feel like someone owes me $6 after watching it.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's better.
All right, Rob, you're up.
Alrighty, so my number 4, I went with Late Night with the Devil.
Oof.
It was one of those movies that I remember, you know, everybody online was saying it was so good, and I hadn't seen it yet. So I said to myself, I'm going to go to the theater, I'm going to sit down, watch this one. And I was blown away just by the way that it took you back to these late night talk shows on Halloween where somebody just had to make up the numbers, and he was like, I'm just going to put on the best show. And just the way that it went down, I felt like I got sucked in right away. The way that when the cameras turn off, it goes to that black and white just to kind of give the tension to when it was like the real scenes of them talking rather than them being on air. And I just thought that the movie was so well done. I went home, I watched it again with my wife. I was like, you have to see this movie. And I think it was one of the best movies of the year, one of the best of horror movies of the past couple of years, because it was so well done and it was different in the way that they did things. And like the main actor, I can't remember his name. It's
David Dastmalchian.
Yes, that's it. He was phenomenal. And I think he should, you know, he's been getting a lot more of these roles. Usually you'd see him in smaller things. Like he was in something small a couple years ago. I can't remember the name of it, but I think he should just keep getting more roles. This one was so much fun, such a good one just to, you know, go and see.
Man, I totally forgot that came out this year. Can I remove Mean Girls from my choices and put in Late Night with the Devil, man?
Yes, you should. Just retroactively.
Well, because I literally just watched it about a week ago. I missed it in theaters, and so I watched it on streaming. And afterwards, I'm like, I want to buy this movie, but it's not very available for what I want. It's like, if I want the 4K, I gotta import it, or I gotta, you know, pay.
The Blu-ray is the way to go, though, because the way it looks. You know?
Yeah, you don't need it too crazy special. Like if you want the one with like the book and everything from Second Sight, it's cool. But besides that, the Blu-ray is perfect.
But then I saw
Yeah.
they had a Blu-ray Steelbook, and then that made me jealous of the Steelbook because it wasn't available anymore. And then I'm like, oh man, if they had the Blu-ray Steelbook available, I would have got that one. But now it's like at this point, I should just wait. They're gonna come out with a 4K Steelbook, I'm sure, stateside eventually. They always do that. Give it another year or so, I'm sure they will. So I'm just waiting for that. Hopefully they do something cool with that. But yeah, you guys are right. Movie is phenomenal. Looks great
Wow.
from start to finish, just like the 70s aesthetic to it all, which was really cool. And you're never bored, like opening shot to ending. And it gets
Yep.
so crazy by then. You're like, what the heck is happening right now? Oh my gosh, that was such an inventive movie. But I'll let you guys talk about it. Nate, you love that one too?
Yeah, real quick. I loved it. It's in my top 10. I think I agree 100% with Rob. I love that they play it like you're just watching the late night show, and then you have the black and white scenes, which are fiction. The whole thing's fiction, but they play it like this is real, and then these are almost like fictional fill-in scenes. It was very clever. It looks different, so you know you're differentiating between the two. David Desmalchin's great. That guy who played Christu, hilarious. Like, and it's funnier. It's funnier than you would think it would be with that title. There's a lot of humor, and it keeps you off guard. Like, oh, this is not that crazy, and then it just starts getting crazy. So I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, no, this was a blind buy. I heard great things about it, so I was like, well, here, let me get one of these editions. So I was able to grab that steelbook. So but yeah, it was a blind buy, blind watch. I knew nothing about it. I try to do that these days. I don't want to go in knowing too much about anything anymore, because anytime you watch a trailer, it almost gives everything away anyway. So I've kind of steered clear of those. But this was fantastic. I just repeating what everybody said. The way it was shot, it's fantastic. The way it goes off the rails, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Dimension number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Alien Romulus. Dang it. So I'm just glad that they decided to go in that horror direction like it was in the original Alien movie. That to me is probably why I enjoy the first Alien that much. Even though that first Alien movie is not action packed, but it is gorily violent, and it feels so practically real. But in this movie though, it had horror. It has some pretty solid cast, in my opinion. It has some good action going on. And I'm glad that they've been taking some of these iconic characters like Predator, like in Prey, and this movie here, Alien. And it really makes me wish that, can we get a Terminator movie that's going back to a horror direction like the original movie?
That would be nice.
Yeah, this was an awesome choice right there, because I loved Alien Romulus. It might be my favorite out of the whole franchise now. I think it combined the best parts of the original Alien with adding more action in there, kind of like Aliens, but it wasn't silly at all. It was very serious. I love the visual effects too. Like, some of the shots there were just so darn cool. Yeah, I really loved that one. You guys liked it as well?
Yeah, it was my number 2. So I'm gonna adjust my list. So thank you, Dimension. I appreciate that. I loved it. My third favorite in the franchise already. Like, it's Aliens, and then this one. It's way better than 4 or 3. I liked it better than Prometheus, just a smidge, and it's better than Covenant. So, like, at the end of the day, it ranks pretty high. So I'll change something on my list, but great pick. I love that movie.
Yes, Grant?
Alien was not my favorite franchises to begin with, because I am not a fan of the sci-fi disaster flicks, especially when it comes to horror. This one got me by surprise and got me off guard really completely. And would I say, should I check out the entire franchise after Romulus? It's still no for me, because I am not a fan of those huge sci-fi disaster movies, especially within horror. But I will put Alien Romulus, and Aliens as the best of the franchise. And if they want to do a sequel to Alien Romulus or somewhere that they haven't gone before, it's got to be right there with Romulus and Aliens too. So, or Aliens, if you want to call it that.
Awesome. So it seems like everybody loved Alien Romulus. Sunny,
It was okay.
what's your next favorite?
Rob's-
My
It was okay.
fourth favorite movie that came out in 2024 is probably the Garfield movie. It was very funny, and I just liked the concept was just well put together, and just liked it a lot.
Awesome. Solid choice. I saw that movie and it was actually better than I thought it was going to be. So it's fun. Fun family.
Had a great
movie.
popcorn bucket. That
Yeah.
Garfield head popcorn bucket was great.
Grant, you like that one too?
I'm gonna say that it's better than the Bill Murray movies with my
Agreed.
childhood. It
That's
was
true.
not. It was not the way that I was intending it to be. Chris Pratt playing Garfield was okay. He played Mario in Super Mario Bros. What's he gonna do next? What is he gonna do? The next. I hope he doesn't do the next animated movie after Garfield because anytime that Super Mario does good and Garfield does good, he just does it in a way that kind of makes me feel like I don't like it, but I enjoy it at the same time. But it's kind of like keeping up with my head. Yeah, so I kind of like the Garfield movie better than the Bill Murray movies, and plus the story actually kind of relates to many people in particular. But I really enjoy this animated movie, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this franchise going forward.
And the movie does make you really hungry. There's a lot of pizza and lasagna and Italian food in there. I'm like,
Lasagna.
hungry.
See, I'm excited. I want to watch this one. I growing up with Garfield, you know, even the comic strip in the Sunday papers, not even before it was a cartoon, you know. So that's how old I am. But yeah, I want to check this out. I worked it. It was playing in one of the Grand Infinity, like the huge balcony theaters. So whenever I'd walk by, I'd kind of poke my head in and sit there and watch. And it was pretty funny from what I saw. So I'm excited to check it out because, like I said, I love Garfield. He's sarcastic. He's very dry. He's very, you know, that's probably where I get a lot of my humor. Is
I would say Do It Fish. I grew up with the Thanksgiving, Halloween,
Yes.
Christmas episodes.
Yeah, I
every
watched the
year. I
Christmas
still
one.
watch them,
Yep,
and
yep.
it was fun to see something new with Garfield. Like the live actions, they didn't have that same feel. This definitely did. It is a little long, I'll say that. I took my nephew and he didn't like how long it was, but besides that, it's funny. It it takes you back to the old style of Garfield.
Nice.
I will say, right off the bat, they also did what was it? Garfield for Real and Garfield's Field Show, where I grew up with Cartoon Network's Flicks, which I grew up mostly, and that's where I got Garfield from. But still, the animated movie really got me into a smile that day. So that's it.
All right. Third favorite film here. I know this one is going to give everybody plenty of smiles, I'm sure. It's not going to be Smile 2. I forgot that would actually have been a good pun. Sorry, I wasted my pun abilities there. But if you guys didn't like my Mean Girls choice, you're not going to like this choice. So we're going to go with the masterpiece of Kraven the Hunter. Now, Kraven the Hunter was such a delightful surprise. Now, stay with me, everybody. I'm being completely serious here. So I expected this movie to be garbage. I was still recovering from Madam Web. Like, Madam Web just kind of ruined me off of superhero movies for a while. So I needed something to bring me back a little bit. And we had Kraven the Hunter. And Kraven the Hunter, if you take it as it is, I know some people are like, oh, it's not a Spider-Man movie. Well, heck, we already knew it wasn't going to be a Spider-Man movie. Like, get over it. We know it's not a Spider-Man movie. Once you move past that, if you tell me, okay, you got to make a Kraven the Hunter movie where Kraven the Hunter is the anti-hero or whatever you want to call it, to the best of your ability, I think they accomplished that there. I thought Alan Taylor Johnson was fantastic as Kraven the Hunter. He had a great look to him. This movie was very comics accurate with how Kraven is in the Spider-Man comics. They even had his brother in there, the chameleon character, and I thought that was a really cool dynamic back and forth. Tons of fun action moments. Like, the action was pretty brutal. I mean, this was no, just kid superhero movie. This got pretty brutal in some scenes. So overall, I had a fun time with Kraven the Hunter. Way better than I expected. Yeah, some of the CGI got a little wonky on the Rhino and whatnot, but the Rhino, just as a villain character, I kind of was entertained by him a little bit before he turned into the Rhino, just like his human self. I'm like, okay, this is a decent enough villain. So I know I'm on an island with this one, but I quite like Kraven the Hunter. I want to watch this one again. But I know I'm here alone, right?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
decent, not gonna lie. But the funniest thing was there was a big thing where they played the trailer before Moana 2 at a bunch of theaters,
yeah.
and mothers on TikTok and stuff were complaining. They were like, "It's the most brutal thing I've ever seen," and all this. And it's like,
yeah.
it was
Taking
pretty.
it cartoon.
It was gory and bloody. Like, not gonna lie, it was rated R, but it was decent. I'm not gonna say it wasn't Madam Web. It was not.
No, I agree. Okay, here's where I will give it points. I thought the action was decent. I like that it was rated R. It's the least, to me, it's the least worst of the Sony. I don't count Venom. I'm talking this, Madam Web, Morbius. It's the least worst of the three.
Yeah,
I would rather watch Kraven than Madam Web or Morbius again.
I'll take it.
I'll say that much. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I didn't give it a great score. I gave it like a 4 out of 10. But I mean,
I was gonna be like a 4 out of 5. That was my score.
4 out of 10. 2 out of 5. But I mean, we're talking about everything else being 1 or half a star or 0. Aaron Taylor Johnson was good. I like Russell Crowe. He's always reliable. But yeah, it's not great, but it's not the worst of those movies.
All right, Grant, I feel like you have something to say here. It's Marvel. Yeah. This is Marvel.
Yeah,
now.
It is Marvel. I will tell you that, but I will give credit to the people that did Kraven the Hunter justice. But dude, this movie sucked. I hated this movie. I will give it credit for comic accurate, but the script, the writing was god awful. It kind of felt like if Sasquatch Sunset kind of made it to the most premium NC-17 Peakorama title that Vinegar Syndrome or Severin would have picked up. It is like that bad. Honestly, I still hate this movie. Is it worse than Madam Web? It's in the vibe. It's in the vibe with Madam Web. It's vibe with Morbius. And I will say it. I will watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 again up to Kraven the Hunter. All three. All three.
I like that movie too. I like Amazing Spider-Man 2. I like Morbius, so I'll take it.
All three of the Sony Spider-Man universe movies besides Venom, which I can give credit for, all three are they're kind of like stinky trash of the Sony Spider-Man universe. And I'll just say let's just say if one of you say, "Hey Grant, I got you a Christmas gift," and they gave me Kraven the Hunter on Steelbook, I will throw it right across the bin. But I will keep the DVD version of Kraven the Hunter, but I wouldn't watch it again. Unless if someone says, "Hey Grant, I want to watch a mature movie," I'll put on Kraven the Hunter or what was the one that just came out? Anyone But You.
That's a good movie
that
too. I like
that would be a much better.
Saying all of Mike's favorite movies.
I know, man.
I would pick that over Kraven the Hunter, but yeah, one of the worst movies for me. I'm sorry, Mike, but I have to pull off the train.
All right, Dimension. You got to back me up here, Dimension. I need your help.
It's like, don't bring me into this.
What were you saying? I didn't hear you.
I said, Dimension, you got to back me up here. Tell me you like Kraven the Hunter.
Unfortunately, I haven't gotten the chance to watch it yet.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Yes. I love that. Mike says my number 3, Kraven the Hunter. Grant says stinky trash. It's stinky trash.
See, we all have unique tastes here. That's why I have assembled this panel together to get more recommendations out to you guys. So, Nate, what is your number 3?
All right. I'm scared because I wanted to move my number 3 into my number 2 because Dimension took it, but I'm scared that someone else will take it. So I'll do number 2 as a totally different movie. My number 3 is gonna be The Substance, with, of course, Demi Moore, a well-deserved Golden Globe, and I hope she gets or wins an Oscar. I'm not even lying. Her performance is that good. A lot of prosthetics, a lot of makeup, but unexpected, fantastic. Margaret Qualley, great in this movie. Dennis Quaid. You never see someone who's more disgusting without really like having to make them look disgusting than Dennis Quaid in this movie. Yeah, him eating shrimp made me want to throw up.
Just like the butter dip, like everywhere. Like, come on, man.
His face is all greasy. I'm like, this is so in a movie full of disgusting stuff. That was almost the most disgusting thing.
Yeah, that was almost worse than the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like a crazy movie. Very gross, very gooey, but I love this director. I loved Revenge, her first film. I thought it was our first like kind of big American film. She might have done something else. Revenge was amazing. This was amazing. Another one with like cool music, cool vibe, looks great performances. I dug it. So that's my number 3.
I'm with you, Nate. That movie was
so
good. It was in my top 10, but there's only one other person I'd say that could take that award this year from her, and that's in my top, so I'll get to that later. But for me, the only thing I've been hearing that people didn't like was the last like 30 minutes of the movie they thought was a little too much. For me, I thought that it was awesome.
It was the natural payoff for what I just watched.
Payoff. Disgusting. Like at one point I'm like, when is the blood just gonna stop? Like this is ridiculous, but I'm also still laughing at the same time. But if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's worth it, 100%.
They should put that on the poster. When is the blood gonna stop?
Yeah,
that would be an amazing quote. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with both of you guys. This was actually my number 2, and I wish you had moved it up to your number 2 so I could piggyback you again and talk about it. But yeah, no, this was my number 2 movie of the year. And it was just recent that like within the last couple of weeks that I watched it and fell in love with it. Oh my God, it was great. I watched it the day after the Golden Globes. So I watched it. I wanted to watch it before, but I forgot they were on that Sunday. So I watched her win. And then the next night watched what was probably one of her greatest performances I've ever seen. She's fantastic. I've always loved Demi Moore. She's one of my childhood favorites. Ghost, G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane doesn't get enough love, but I love G.I. Jane. I love her in G.I. Jane. But yeah, she's fantastic in this. Then the subject matter of aging and not feeling your worth and, being pushed aside for a new and improved. So I loved it. She did a fantastic job. Like you guys said, Margaret Qualley was great. Dennis Quaid was fantastic. I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
And so much practical effects.
That was one of the best parts, the practical effects, always fantastic. It took me, when I got finished watching it, I was like, that gave me very The Thing vibes, with the practical effects of it all. I was like, man, this was wonderful. Yes, exactly.
Right up.
I was like, oh my God. This was a monster that could have been a part of the, in The Thing,
or like From Beyond.
Morphing,
Remember From
but
Beyond?
That's what it felt very, 80s body horror.
Yes.
Cronenberg, like Bring it, give it to me all. Give it all to me. Like, come on.
Exactly. So
Number 3, and Fish is number 2.
Right there.
Man, see, I haven't seen this movie yet, so now I feel like it's being overhyped.
Now don't watch it because I don't want you to come back and say it's stinky
I'm going to
trash or
compare it
something
to
like that.
Craven.
See, and I don't know, Micah. I don't know if you would like it. You
don't
may
know if you'll like
surprise
it
me.
either.
You may surprise me, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it would be up your alley. Now the beginning of it, but then like when it gets towards the end, you might say, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? Where's this going?" And that's what I love about it. Now it's like, "Oh my God, where's this going? What's going on here?" So,
Yep.
so.
All right. Well, so Fish, was that your choice or did you have a different choice?
No. That was my number 2. My number 3 actually is had to move things around because we already talked about Wicked. But The Fall Guy. I really enjoyed this Fall Guy. It was a lot of fun. I grew up watching the TV show as a kid with oh my God, Lee Majors, Heather Thomas, Douglas Barr. I love the show. So getting to see it on the big screen with a lot of action and explosions and really like a behind the scenes of stunt guys, and they employed so many stunt people and gave them featuring parts. So I thought that was wonderful. Emily Blunt is always a joy. Ryan Gosling he's Ryan Gosling. He's fun. I love the fact that action star, you can put that under his resume, as opposed to just the romance and the musicals and comedies and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. Aaron Taylor Johnson was crazy, off the rails. It was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed this one. So Fall Guy is my number 3. Anybody else enjoy it?
I did. More than most, probably. Everyone I know didn't like it, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Very solid for me for The Fall Guy. I didn't grow up with the TV show. This movie got me introduced to that movie, but I honestly said that The Fall Guy was a solid. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, which was not terrible, but it was kind of the way of like, I would see myself watching this again in every 2 years kind of thing.
Yeah, at least revisit it, yeah.
Yeah, I like that
thought it
one.
was
And
okay.
it was more romantic comedy than I was expecting at first. Like it has some action in it with the stunt scenes, but a lot more romantic comedy, which I like. I like rom-coms. Rob, you didn't like it so
I'm
much?
with you. I was just expecting a little bit more of the action stuff out of it than the rom-com. And just lately I just haven't been feeling Emily Blunt, kind of like most people with Chris Pratt. I feel like she's kind of in at least one summer blockbuster every year, and I'm kind of like getting to that point. Like Oppenheimer was great, but I'm like, all right, what he's doing?
Else. Do something British. You know what I will say? You know why I liked it? Because I love movies about movies and movie making, Hollywood, and I'm a sucker. You set a movie in a movie or making a movie, and automatically it's like a +5 for me. So just for that reason alone, I was like, I love this movie. It's great.
That's why I love Babylon. I didn't get why people didn't.
I love Babylon.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated.
That was my favorite movie that year, and I'm like, how did you not like it?
It made my top 5 that year. I love that movie.
You know what's funny about that movie? When I first saw it, I was like, I think I love it, but I'm not sure. And then I watched it again, and I was like, I love it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So good. All right, Grant, what's your next?
This one was a tie. I was gonna either choose this movie or this other movie, and I will agree that me and Sonny love this movie. And this movie, oh my gosh, it is DreamWorks' best animated movie of the century, and I'm gonna admit I cried throughout this entire movie because if Sonny was my child, I would have taken care of her much more than this movie, and the movie is called The Wild Robot. I love this movie, and I am actually going to say this best animated movie of 2024. I will admit, I don't care what people say about Moana 2 being their number 4. But I love this movie. It is the pure emotions of the scenes. Pedro Pascal as the fox did an incredible job. The girl who did A Quiet Place Day One nailed Ross, and also Mark Hamill as the bear. Really, really good character development on every single movie. And I am just gonna get this straight. If you haven't seen The Wild Robot, you are missing a little bit of that aspect of your life of what it's like to be a parent. Even Mike has a kid right now that might be watching The Wild Robot very soon. But I will say this. This one will hit you right in your heartstrings if you haven't seen this movie and what it feels like to be a single parent. I haven't experienced of becoming a single parent, but I feel the emotions and needs of what it's like to be a single parent. The animation is fantastic. The songs are really good. And also, I don't want to have to say this, but when the DreamWorks 30th anniversary still kicks in, I am going to be rewatching this movie again just to honor what they got coming for it. And The Wild Robot really got my heartstrings on Best Animated Movie of the Year. So if anyone has seen it, now is the time to give your full thoughts. And honestly, this hit me in the heartstrings even more because I just want to say that if Sunny was my daughter, would 100% take care of her as like my own child. Even if she has her own mother, I'm willing to take care of Sunny just like I did with my own child.
Great choice, Grant. I love this movie too. To me, it's the best animated picture for sure. Like you said, everything about it, tons of emotions come across with this movie. So it surprised me. It came out of nowhere for me. I really liked it. You guys enjoyed that one as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was actually my number 2.
Everyone talks about how good this movie is, so I'm trying to hopefully bite the bullet and watch it for myself one day.
I don't want to
I
say
enjoyed it.
anything because how much everyone else loved it. So I'm gonna bow out. I thought it was just okay. I thought it was cute, but
I'm with you. I'm with you, Nate. I
Yeah.
thought that, this year was really good for animated movies. We had Inside Out 2, which was phenomenal.
that was better.
Flow could take it out, and even the new Wallace and Gromit was so good. So I think it was a great year for animated films. And there was some things with the Wild Robot that I found to be too much, but the movie was shot great. It looked amazing. The sound, the editing was phenomenal. So yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good. I'm sorry, Sonny. I did not mean to interrupt you. I thought it was good. I'll say this real quick. I thought it was good. It was cute. I'll probably not watch it again. Like it didn't hit me the way it seemed to hit the rest of the earth. So yeah, it was fine. Okay, Sonny, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was actually my number 2, and it was just phenomenal. And I also agree with Grant. Like it was fantastic, and
Yeah, great choice right there. How about you, Rob?
Oh, what's my number?
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
Number 3.
I had to move stuff around, so I'm moving some stuff up. But my number 3 is Nosferatu. It came out at the end of the year, and I'm a Robert Eggers lover. I don't think he's missed on anything yet from The Northman, Lighthouse, because he takes you to a time where we weren't there, and we get to be there now because he just creates these sets that are mind blowing. He created 9 blocks of 1800 Germany, and then took you to different places in Transylvania to film, and just learning that Skarsgård learned an old different type of Chinese to give that essence of Orlok that he gave, and I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. The old English, like I can't wait to see it again at home just to have subtitles to know half the stuff they were saying, because some of it is just hard to make out. But besides that, if no one hasn't seen that movie, it's amazing. All the acting in it, Defoe, Alan Taylor Johnson, Lily Rose Depp. They're so good. The gore in it is fantastic, and how they make Orlok look is just it's insane. And definitely one of the best horror movies of the year.
All right, Nate, I feel like you love that one too.
Loved it. I agree with everything. I second everything you said. It didn't make my list. Only because it didn't sit with me something else didn't sit with me as long either, but I thought it was great. I agree with everything he said. Eggers is he is a master of the production value stuff, like the language, the way it looks, the sets, the costumes. The only weak part for me was Nicholas Hoult, honestly. I think his performance was fine, and everyone else was. Lily Rose Depp was kind of weird. She's another one. I thought she was good, but a little weird. Willem Dafoe, though, steals the movie. Bill Skarsgård, fantastic. Put him in every single horror movie. Make him the villain. Make him the monster. He's tall. He's got a weird look anyway. It's perfect. I loved it.
How about you, Grant?
I love this movie too. But it is my favorite horror movie of the year. Mainly because Nosferatu, I was introduced by it by SpongeBob SquarePants, either or. But honestly, Robert Eggers is not my favorite horror director, unfortunately. But I will say, for anyone that is seeing Nosferatu, this movie may not be for everyone, because there is Old English, like you mentioned, that will get people kind of like, huh? What the heck? Am I watching this good English movie, or am I watching some Old Navy English movie? So I will give it right off the bat. And like you said, Bill Skarsgård, I did not even know that was him until the credits rolled. And I was like, oh, crap. I did not even see him, because he was in full disguise that you barely could not even see him. But yeah, the movie could have ended a little bit way short, and it was too long for my sense of liking. But we are getting an extended cut of the film when it comes out on physical media. So if you haven't seen the theatrical release, there will be two versions of the film coming out on physical media: the theatrical cut and then the extended cut. So Nosferatu, best horror movie of the year, but it did not make my list.
I will not be watching the extended cut there. It's a movie kind of similar to Dune Part 2, where I would show it in a film history class. Everything from a technical production standpoint, on point, perfect, excellent. But I just didn't feel the heart or emotions. I didn't care about any of the characters. I'm like, I don't care what happens to these guys. Like, whatever, have fun, Nosferatu. So yeah, I didn't connect with it on like a emotion level. That's what it was for me. But everything else was fine. I think The Northman is my favorite from Eggers by far, because I connected a little bit more with that one. That good Hamlet, Lion King kind of story.
I'm glad to hear that. Not a lot of people love that one, and I thought
it was great.
That one even had some funny moments, like when he found out he had a daughter, so he jumped in the lake and was like, "I'm out of here. I'm gonna go kill this guy." Like, I love that.
All right, over to a Dimension.
All right, from my number 3 is a movie that I'm stuck on an island, similar to you, Mike, because this movie is everybody's worst movie of the year. And that's Madam Web. Why? Because Dakota Johnson, she's gorgeous. In these 3 young girls in the movie, they're a lot of fun. For a sci-fi action movie alone is entertaining enough for me, just like all these other Sony Marvel movies. That's just good enough for me. I saw this I saw it for my birthday. I know it got so many negative reviews, and I had to take it upon myself to go watch this movie for myself, because I enjoyed the Sony Marvel universe for what it is. And Dakota Johnson is gorgeous, and these 3 young girls are gorgeous and fun to hang out with and go on the run from your spider, what kind of villain, Ezekiel. Fine. That's good enough for me. That's why I like it.
Great. Make it brief.
I'm just gonna say this: worst movie of 2024. Second, the character dialogue was complete trash, like a moldy milk that just came out of Sasquatch Sunset, really deep. And third, the story, the trailer, gave away too much. It really gave away too much, and probably had to change the script, had to do a lot of the things. But it was in the worst movie of the 2024. Even though that, if you're sitting alone, that it is a great movie experience. But if you're watching it with a bunch of people, it's going to be way lower than either sitting in a college dorm room or sitting with a child there that wants to see Madam Web, with Dakota Johnson being the #1 fame. I'm just going to say Madam Web is one of the worst movies. Well, is my #1 worst movie of the year, but it depends on what people's taste buds are. Even if it's a all films are subjective in this community. So I'm glad that you liked Madam Web, but this movie is dog trash for me.
All right. Well, Dimension, I'm actually very excited for you to see Craven the Hunter because, I mean, if you love Madam Web, I'm telling you, Craven the Hunter,
You're gonna love it.
masterpiece level.
That pic just made Mike so excited for you.
We got to do that live stream watch along.
If I get around to it, I will let you know. I will tell you about it, and we should probably get together and do a personal Sony universe ranking.
Ooh,
That's what
I
I
like
think.
that. I like that quite a bit. Oh, but I will not watch Madam Web again.
I will say this: I had 11 movies ranked lower than Madam Web this year. So if that means anything, I did see 11 worse movies. Also, I don't think anyone had on their bingo card coming into tonight for the best of year list to hear Madam Web and Craven both make
Okay, come
list.
on now. We
Can't
cannot
believe
get
it.
Craven the Madam Web.
This is crazy.
Let's be real now.
yeah, I didn't like it.
All right,
I'm gonna
let's
go with
continue
Nate.
with this. Let's we got to move it along here.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to some happier thoughts here. So, Sonny, what do you got for your next choice? Oh, you're
Oh,
muted.
Sonny, you're on mute.
My third choice of 2024 is The Purple Crayon. It was such an inspiration to me. Like, for days, I would just like have my own purple crayon in my pocket, walking around, like picturing all the stuff, and like it was just such an inspirational and amazing movie. It was just to the heart for me.
Grant, you like that one too?
Sorry to say this, Sonny, but I was 50-50 on this one because I grew up with the TV show. The director had no clue of writing the Purple Crayon movie, and I'm being honest, Sonny. I really liked that you enjoyed this movie, but this was not for me. If it would have gone into a different direction with the Purple Crayon, like being like that good, I would have loved it even more better. But this movie was not for me, and it's probably in my top 30 least worst of the year. Like it's in 29. But Sonny, you got your opinions and you got the art. I'm just gonna leave it right at that.
And I will say I enjoyed it a lot more than Madam Web. Take that for what you will.
We should have renamed this list our top 5 least worst.
Yeah, least worst.
All right, so we are now on to our second favorite film here. Already at number 2. I felt like we've already had some number 2s last round or so, but yeah, we are moving on here.
Yeah, like Craven and
Yes, better.
All right, so my second, I don't think my list is going to get any better for anybody. I'm just going to be straight up. Okay. Nobody saw this movie, but I saw this one, and I thought this was amazing in terms of like a technology standpoint. Like when you see an Avatar movie, you're like, how'd they do that with that technology? I had the same feeling with this movie, and it's going to be Here. Yes, Here, starring Tom Hanks.
Actually, not
Okay.
that bad.
I thought this movie was really well done in terms of editing. What they did with a single location, they were able to edit in different parts of the movie, and it's even almost tough to explain until you see this movie because it takes you through different time periods, and I'll have like a little square here that's in an older time period, but it never cuts off the flow of the movie. The movie flows really well. You get to see these different generations living in this one place. And to me, it hit me with the emotions because once again, you guys were talking about some movies that dealt with time and age. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really hitting me right here as this person gets older. Oh, and the de-aging technology is fantastic here. To me, one of the best it's ever been in any movie. So I'm like, okay, they're getting better at the de-aging technology. Thank goodness. And Tom Hanks delivers the emotions here because you get to see, his relationship with his wife and then his kids growing up and all of that. I'm like, and their connection to their home was so powerful and what it meant to them. I'm like, I really like this one, and I can't find out the reason why so many people seem to despise this movie. I'm like, do people not like just like old school dramas anymore? Like to me, this was just a really good, solid emotional drama with really cool, inventive editing technology. I mean, it's directed by the great Bobby Zemeckis. He knows how to direct movies, especially from a technology standpoint. I just thought this was firing on all cylinders and really, once again, an unsurprised hit for me. I think that was my list this year. Movies that were really surprisingly better than I thought they were going to be. But did you guys see Here at all?
Yeah.
I did.
How was it for you, Nate?
I liked it. I
Oh,
don't even know people who hated it so much as just didn't go see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little gimmicky, but I think they made it work. It's very simple. It's just this house and what happens at this house throughout the years with different families. I will say my only negative, they focused on one way more than the rest, which is fine, but some really got the shaft. Like hardcore, like the mom and the daughter with the guy who's like in the airplane or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're barely there, and then they're not there anymore. It's like, oh, okay, I guess. And the Benjamin Franklin people that they're like, it's the house next to Benjamin Franklin, but I dug it. I actually thought it was cool. I enjoyed it, and I love. Give me some more Forrest Gump. Give me Jenny and Forrest all day. Robin Wright and Tom Hanks. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
How about you, Grant?
Uh-oh.
I actually kind of like this movie.
Right.
Robert Zemeckis actually did a really good job with this film. But I wouldn't call him Robert Bobby. Even though
I know these people, it's like Bobby, and then you got like Jimmy Cameron, like,
Jimmy Cameron.
Jimmy Jam. Yeah.
Even though that it is a Robert Zemeckis movie, this one actually kind of feels like a one-piece setting movie that takes multiple scenes of like just going through one angle of be like it's even in the trailer. It's even in the trailer of like what's gonna happen within the entire movie. It's like one setting where it's like the place in the campfire. It's in a living room, for the most part. But I actually like this movie. I in my Letterboxd reviews, I gave it a 3 stars, which isn't my cup of tea movie, but it is something that I'm glad that I watched and probably will not watch again. If they do like a Forrest Gump 2, I don't even care what they do with that one. But please let it be Gump than Jenny, because some people are very divisive of Jenny being the villain and Jenny's like the hero. But I am all 50-50 for Jenny being like the neutral character of
she's dead.
Movie. Yeah, she's dead.
All right, we are focusing on 2024 here.
Yeah,
so
but
let's
here,
keep it going.
But here is probably one of the good movies so far that year. But if they do a Forrest Gump 2, I'm definitely in.
All right, Nate, what do you
All
got
right.
here?
So my number 2 is Alien Romulus. I'm just gonna put that out there, but we already talked about it. Here's my new number 2. I'm gonna go with a Mike pick here. I'm gonna channel my inner Mike, the Mega Mike the movie man. I'm gonna be Mega Nate the movie guy. And I legitimately love this movie, and I don't care. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I feel like we all should have one of those, right? Like
I have like 5 of those.
you had 5.
Yeah.
This is my one. The best time I had at the movie theater this year was Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. And I'm not lying. Well, first of all, I'm a sucker for kaiju movies. I love Kong more than Godzilla. I like Godzilla. I love Kong. So I love Kong movies. I love Skull Island. I thought it was amazing. I like this whole universe. I liked the last Godzilla vs. Kong movie, or Godzilla vs. Kong. But I don't know. I went to see this with my cousin, and I kid you not, we were sitting there like little kids. You ever watch a movie and it just makes you feel like you're 8 and you're just like, this is the best. This is a big monkey punching a big dragon. They're flying through the sky in slow motion. One of them has an axe and a metal arm, and it's stupid. And I absolutely loved it. And I saw it in IMAX, and there's some great visuals in here. I think Adam Wingard actually did a great job directing it. Dan Stevens is a lot of fun. The story, don't think about it. Don't think about it. It's silly.
Yeah.
It's silly goose. But just as a piece of entertainment, I loved this movie. So I'll put that. That's my Mike pick. Yeah, I get it. Some people didn't like it. I ain't one of them. I loved it.
I hated that movie, man. Don't associate
Of all people,
my
you hated
name.
it?
What, Mike?
Oh
Come
my
on.
gosh. Like you said, I'm a story person. I'm a
Okay.
story person.
You liked
and
Craven.
that's a good story. That is a
No
great story, a redemption story there.
Okay.
These were
Fair
just
enough.
monsters doing monster things. You didn't even have Godzilla half the time. He was taking a nap for half the movie.
Didn't
if
need him.
somebody
It's a
to
Kong.
sleep.
It's a more Kong
It's-
focused
When
story.
you do Godzilla X Kong, I better see both of them for most of the movie. And this was more a Kong movie. I'm not a Kong fan. I'm a Godzilla fan.
Oh, you see
So
that?
that's where they lost me right
Explains
there.
it.
So
Makes sense. That's fair.
I'm with Nate though. Like I took my nephew and we walked out and he's like, "That's the best movie I've ever seen," and he's 9, and I'm like,
Heck
I'm
yeah.
glad that that's the best movie you've ever seen because it was total action when they dropped into like Middle Earth, whatever they called it. I felt like all right, this is fantastic. Like I'm
Hollow
12
Earth.
again.
The Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth. That was it.
Yeah.
That was close.
Dude, when they're floating and the little monkey is like he throws them like he uses them like a weapon. They fight in Brazil. This movie's amazing. I don't even know what you're talking about. This movie's awesome. It was great. It's stupid.
The stream has
It's
gone
great.
off the rails, audience. I don't know.
Number
what
2,
is
my
up.
fake number 2 is Godzilla X Kong, but I did love it. It'd probably be like my 12th of the year, like overall. But I'm gonna.
All right, Fish. What do we got?
Okay, well, I can't believe that I didn't have this on my list originally. Like I said, I moved things around. I've been looking at my phone, trying to figure out what I could put at my number 2, and I had to check again to make sure that it came out in 2024. So it came out on April 19th, 2024. I completely forgot. You know, when a movie comes out that early, you forget about it.
Yeah.
So, man, I had such a good time with this one. I love a good horror comedy. And I love vampires. They're one of my favorites of all time. One of my favorite supernatural characters. I loved Abigail. Abigail was fantastic. I love this movie. It was a lot of fun. The concept of a young female vampire. I have always loved that since Interview with a Vampire with Kirsten Dunst being the younger female vampire in that. But I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a great mix of comedy, horror, special effects. Yeah. So Abigail, I moved that around. I had to number 2, and like I said, I had to make sure that it came out in 2024 because I've been known to put movies in 2023 and stuff. Am I right, Mike?
I know, right?
But yes, so Abigail, I had a great time with that.
Abigail ended up being my favorite Universal monster movie because that got me into the Universal monsters. And with the upcoming Dark Universe project in Epic Universe at Universal, this really got me into focusing more on the Universal monsters, even a lot more. Even with Wolfman, that just came out like this week.
Saw it today.
I really wanted to see what they do next after Wolfman, but I'm gonna have to wait until CinemaCon of 2024. But Fish, I love your number 2 favorite, Abigail. Even though that I love Catherine Newton. Catherine Newton ended up being great in this one, and same goes with the child actor that healed that performance even well. But my favorite scene of Abigail is like, you drank too much. And Catherine Newton starts to eat, about to be drinking more blood out of this guy's neck. Be like, "Oh, you are such my type," and then he goes for it. I was like, "Yep, this is kind of like a romantic horror comedy, but with more blood in particular." So, Abigail, my favorite second horror movie of the year too. So I had a blast with that one.
Grant, so you're number 2.
Okay, since Rob took my number 2 of Nosferatu, I'm gonna have to pick differently. So I'm gonna have to steal Mike's number 1, unfortunately, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I love this movie. Even Sonic the Hedgehog 3 had an amazing story. Shadow's story, voiced by Keanu Reeves, nailed that franchise, especially with the post-credit scene with Sonic 4, which comes out in spring of 2027, for those of you that don't know. This one got me in full surprise. I love Shadow. I do love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey really put most of the parts in. There were some comedic jokes that I didn't even expect coming from Jim Carrey. Got me ball rolling with laughter, and I cannot wait to see what they do with the 4th film. And even in the universe of Sonic, I cannot wait to see what they do with Sonic. So that's my full thought. And if anyone has seen this movie, now is the time to give your full thoughts on this movie. And sorry, Mike, for stealing your number 1, but if someone steals
let me find another choice.
That was my number 2.
If someone steals Nosferatu, then I'm gonna go full Die Hard. I'm gonna go full Die Hard on this one.
Sonic 3 was good, not gonna lie. I feel like all the Sonics are good, and to me they're all at like that even playing field where like I'll see the 4th one, but I feel like it's just gonna be as good as all the other ones. Because Carrie always hits right, the characters are always good, and like, you know, you're sitting in a theater of 10-year-olds and they're all going nuts, but at the same time you're kind of going nuts. You're loving it too. So I feel like these things are just a money maker. So we'll see 6 or 7 of these things before it's over.
I would say a new trilogy.
I think that's such a good description, because we reviewed this over here on Mike's channel. I thought it was great, but I agree. Like, I don't think there's a huge gap from 1 to 3. No. Like, they're all very
pretty good. Yeah,
like they're all entertaining. So it's consistent. Exactly. Sorry, Mike.
Movie
Sorry you did that.
Is a masterpiece. No, that's okay. I'm happy to talk about it. But yeah, this movie is amazing. When you talk about the family genre, and I'm like, okay, how can you make this movie the best it can be within a family genre? This just hits everything. Amazing voice cast was mentioned there. Character fan service was there, but it didn't take away from the movie. It didn't take away from the story. The story was still logical, made sense. The writing was good. The Jim Carrey moments, like you guys said, that dance sequence at the end, push the button. Oh my God. That was phenomenal. I mean, to me, that was a step up above the first one. Like, to me, it just got better in every way with all these characters. The third act had so many amazing moments, especially if you're a Sonic fan, just to see the different things that pop up, like Maria in this movie. You're like, oh my gosh, they're going into the Sonic lore here. Like how Kraven the Hunter was very comic accurate. This was very video game accurate. And this movie is just super fun and entertaining. Like, I don't know how you could not have a smile on your face at some point in this movie. Like, you're going to smile with this movie. As simple as that. Great comedy, great action, great everything here. To me, I can't really find a negative flaw where I'm like, oh, this was terrible. Not for a family movie, perfection.
The physical media release, I just got this in today. This movie will be coming out on DVD and 4K with the Blu-ray combo on April 15th. They want to push it a little bit more further because of Oscar winning season. And I completely understand why. So you're going to wait another 2 to 3 months, just like Top Gun Maverick did when it was pushed from May to November. So that really got me off, really just angry at the same time, but glad that I got a physical media release at the back burner.
All right, Rob.
Alrighty, so my second originally was Wicked. So I moved some stuff around, moved some stuff up. And my second is actually going to be a Mike kind of pick. And I'm going a little crazy here. Lisa Frankenstein. I loved the look of this movie. Dylan Sprouse was fantastic, I thought, with the way he really didn't have a lot of lines in the movie at all. The color palette was fantastic. The way that, like, I grew up with a lot of the Lisa Frank stuff, and, like, my sisters were obsessed. So it was cool that they kind of used that, like, the tones and those bright colors, the pinks, the purples. And I just had a zany fun time with this one. I think I've probably watched it 4 or 5 times this year already, just because it's a fun one to throw on. And my wife being pregnant at the time and not really wanting to go to theater, this was one that she did want to see. So it was cool that, like, out of the year, that was like one that I got to see with her. So that's it. That's my number 2, Lisa Frankenstein.
Nice. Lisa Frankenstein ended up being one of the versions of Warm Bodies for me, because this had warm body vibes for me. And sure, it's a romantic comedy, but it's like a romantic horror comedy that got you nowhere. And it's a PG-13 movie that got it done right.
Yep.
And there is a little bit of blood in there. I will give it that. But there is like brutal death scenes that you may not see off screen because it was a PG-13 movie. I enjoyed this movie, and Lisa Frankenstein ended up being number 1 of the horror fest of the year, which I enjoyed. Lisa Frankenstein.
Awesome, Grant.
All right. Dimension. Are you still there, Dimension? Dimension dipped out on us. All right. There's Dimension.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. My number 2 pick was going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but I watched this movie on Netflix, and it turns out that I don't think nobody's seen this movie before. It's actually a thriller movie. So if you still like Megan Fox, go check out Subservience. It's a thriller movie starring Megan Fox, who plays this robot that befriends or meets this father who is taking care of her daughter while his wife is sick in the hospital. Megan Fox's performance alone is intimidating. She may look attractive, but she looks like she's doing responsibilities with this father and her daughter, and she will kill you. That's why I like it.
I love that description. She does responsibilities and she will kill you. You know, I just watched this not that long ago. I thought it was fine, but my buddy Cody over a Dude Who Loves Movies, he had a perfect description. He said, this is like if The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Megan were mixed together. That's essentially what this movie is. I was like, yeah, that kind of fits.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sunny.
I also had to go through a whole different text because a lot of my options were taken, but I really enjoyed Inside Out 2. It was really well. It was just very well spoken. But the one thing that did bug me about it is that it was such a big transition. Like it just put her fully in hockey. But I loved the movie. It definitely made my number 2. But it just made such a huge transition and it started confusing me.
How about you, Grant?
Inside Out 2, the only Pixar movie. Sorry about that. But anyway, Inside Out 2 ended up being one of my favorite Pixar movies because it's the only one. They dealt with the anxiety a whole lot more serious than any other animated feature film. Like, if you go through the anxiety attack within that film, it is such a huge grind of what children are thinking of, especially going through hockey. Of course, you do get the new emotions, of course, but Inside Out 2 ended up being one of my summer blockbusters that I enjoyed. And I'm glad that I said that because it's even better with another animated movie that did most likely just to be up there with the summer blockbusters.
Yeah, I liked Inside Out 2 better than the first one. Like the first one I wasn't a massive fan of like everybody else was, but the second one I just felt more connection to the characters there with all those new emotions. I thought that was really cool. Like the one on the phone all the time.
That's my niece. She's like that. That's a real thing. She just
It
turned
is.
15 and she's literally like all day and like I'm like that's you. You're on screen.
Very
When
fun.
You, right? That was the name. When You.
Or ennui.
Ennui.
Yeah.
It was. I enjoyed it a lot. I just thought that, like Sonny said, for if you had just seen Inside Out, the way that the characters grew up, it was more for people who they saw it when it first came out. It's like you grew up with, the characters. But I thought the new emotions were handled great because like I took younger people to see it, and I look over and everyone in the theater is emotional at the moment, and it was just it was a great film.
Yeah, I like that. Great writing,
Alright.
great script for that one too.
Yeah, good pick, Sonny. Good pick.
All right, we are now on to our first favorite here. And of course, Sonic 3 was taken, so we have to pivot here. I'm going to give you guys a recommendation that I don't think anybody's seen here. And I just saw it the other day, and it's a streaming movie. It did not come out to theaters. I don't think it did. And that's going to be Unstoppable. Unstoppable. So if you like inspirational sports stories, like actually based on real sports events, you're going to really like this one. This is a wrestling movie that's actually real wrestling, like college wrestling. I did wrestling in high school, so that was my sport. So I really connected to this movie. Basically, you have somebody that has a lot of obstacles to go through, only has one leg, and is a wrestler and a really darn good wrestler. And you have to see how he basically rises up to, compete within this championship. And it's kind of like a Rocky movie, right? You guys know inspirational sports stories. Got to work harder than everybody else. You're the underdog. You got Jennifer Lopez in there as the mom, which is really cool. And so you got some family drama going on with that one too. But the wrestling was fantastic because once again, it was actual real wrestling and like real wrestling moves. So I'm like, oh, this is very authentic. You don't really see that so often. So that was really cool. Like I said, the drama was there. The characters were great. And it just got you kind of pumped up like an inspirational sports story should. And it informed you on, once again, the real life event. So it was really cool all around. So I highly recommend that one if you're into sports movies. So yeah, Unstoppable. Very, very good.
I saw that one, Mike. I thought it was really good. I just thought it reminded me a lot of the Disney Channel movie Going to the Mat, where the guy was blind and a wrestler. And it felt so much like that movie, and I'm like, oh boy. So, but it was still I love wrestling movies like The Wrestler, and you had the one that came out last year. I forget the name of it, with the guy from The Bear.
The Iron Claw.
Iron Claw. That was fantastic too.
Yeah.
They finally got J-Lo playing the mother of college-age kids. She finally
caved.
She finally caved in. She said, okay, I'll do it.
But there we go. That's
All right.
a recommendation for you guys now. All right, Nate, what do you got?
All right. This was not my number one until I will say about 5 days ago or so when I saw this movie. This movie came out at the tail end of 2024, limited. Didn't come out to me until this week. I went to see it in IMAX, and this is one of those times where Like I'm sitting there watching it and it's so long and everyone's like, "Oh, this movie's so long." But I just felt like I watched someone making their masterpiece, right? So my number one is going to be The Brutalist.
Ooh,
It
good one,
is-
dude.
It is absolutely. I could see someone saying what I'm saying, and I could see someone saying it's boring because it is 3 hours and 45 minutes. It does have an intermission in it, and that's nice because I got up and got some snacks for the second half. I was like, let's recharge, let's do it. But incredible shot in VistaVision, 70 millimeter film, so it looks incredible. Everything is wide, everything is big, fills the screen. So from a technical perspective, it's amazing. Adrian Brody is out of this world good in this movie. I kid you not. Probably the best thing he's been in since easily the best thing he's been in since The Pianist. But he's one of those guys who like got that Oscar and then made a bunch of garbage and like started doing really cheapo stuff. And now I feel like it's a return to form. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now.
Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones, fantastic in this movie. Guy Pearce, though, evil, but amazing in this movie. So good. The acting's out of this world. The cinematography, the script. When I got up and left, I kind of didn't like the last, I would say 5 minutes. There's like an epilogue, and I didn't like it. Other than that, but I won't even count it because it's an epilogue. Whatever. Perfection. Absolute perfection. Cinema. Right? Like, I don't say that often, but I when I got up, I was like, I just watched probably the best movie of 2024. So I'm going to go with The Brutalist. If it's playing near you, see it. There's usually only like 2 or 3 showings a day because it's so long. And if you can see it in a large format, I would recommend it because it looks stunning. Even when there's just 2 people in a room talking. I described it to my cousin as you could see the people standing, the ceiling, and the floor. And just being able to do that with that very wide screen and not having to be all close-ups and stuff, it's beautiful. So I loved it. So that's my number one, The Brutalist.
You guys seen that one, Rob?
Rob, you're muted. I think you said something.
Yeah, no, that was I had off the whole week of the first week of January, so that was on my list. And seeing it in IMAX because I tried to stuff that was up for Golden Globes and that I know are going to be up for Academy Awards, and that one blew me away. I thought the 3.5 hours was definitely it was a long run, but worth it in the eyes of like the cinema and how well it was filmed and all the performances. But if you can get to see that one before it's out of the theaters, which like he said, it's very limited, I would definitely see that one if you're a film fan.
Yeah, it hasn't even gone to a theater near me. I'm like, it's not near any theater, even like hour away theaters. I'm like, where is this movie? How is everybody seeing this one?
Yeah, and I'm like in not even the biggest market, like Orlando. It's not like the biggest market, but we got it, and I was like, I'm seeing it right away. I went to like a 10 a.m. show because I was like, I want to make sure I get it done.
I think it might, the more buzz it gets around award season, I think, especially, I know Regal usually do this when stuff's announced for Best Picture, they'll always put those back out. So if it does get nominated for Best Picture, you probably see it then before the Academy Awards. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. Like I said, I watched the Golden Globes. He won. He hasn't won or done much since The Pianist, like you said. I'm excited about that. So yeah, I really want to check this out. I love historical pictures, so, and this is set during World War II?
It's set just after. So
just
literally
after. Okay, after the war. Yes.
Literally
World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, the
It's
way
one of
they
my
set
favorite
it up.
countries.
Yeah, the way they set it up is 100 minutes, a 15-minute intermission, and 100 minutes. So it's almost like 2 movies, and it's in 2 chapters. Like chapter 1, and it gives you times. Chapter 2 gives you times. So it's super easy to follow for this big epic movie. And it just feels like an old school 50s, 60s, long epic film. Fantastic.
All right, nice. All right, Fish, what do you got for your favorite?
Oh, well, this one is probably a little cliche. It's probably one of the biggest blockbusters of last summer. I love the fact that it says goodbye to some wonderful characters and some wonderful, in my eyes, movies. Saying goodbye practically to a studio, really. Deadpool and Wolverine. So
Ooh.
that is my
Come
favorite
on.
movie. Is my favorite movie last year. The fact that I got Hugh Jackman back. The fact that I'm don't want to do spoilers, but the cameos are fantastic. I stayed off the internet. I stayed off social media for until I saw it. I didn't know who was cameoed. I just heard of some cameos, so I was pleasantly surprised when we got who we got. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. Great back and forth between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Fantastic. I really enjoyed the villain. She was great. So I really had a good time with this one. Said favorite movie of the year. And the end credits when they were showing old footage of behind the scenes of all the Fox Marvel movies. Tears. I was just bawling. I was bawling because I grew up. Those are my first Marvel movies: Daredevil, Elektra, and X-Men.
X-Men, the
Yeah,
original
X-Men.
X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. So
Blade.
it hit me, Blade. It hit me with all the nostalgia. So that's why this is my number one movie of the year. It just hit me in the feels and took me back to being my late teens, early 20s, and just fantastic. Loved it.
No
Agreed.
Craven the Hunter, but it was
No.
good. All right, Grant.
I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, unfortunately, because of the whole multiverse saga and leading up to Secret Wars. But I will get around to seeing Deadpool and Wolverine once I have it on physical media and probably get it probably right around 2026 or 2027. That's my goal of getting there. Okay, so all right, so my number one is actually came out the same month as The Wild Robot, and I am going to throw it right off there. Best origin story, period. And I am going to say that my number one, Transformers 1, which is my favorite origin story because of you get to see Optimus Prime and Megatron not even having their real names first, but they were like D16 and Orion Pax. They were like building a relationship together, and then once this villain played by John Hamm, very good villain, and probably one of the best villains I've ever seen within Josh Cooley's film career. But Transformers 1, one of the best origin stories, and this movie can actually tell you that this movie might be kid friendly film, like a slapstick animated comedy. No, this movie is very dark. Towards the end, it got real dark real fast. When you see it, it is one of those things of what did I just witness kind of things. But Transformers 1 is absolutely my number one. And if anyone has seen this movie, now is the time to give you guys your full thoughts on this movie. I enjoyed this movie, and I cannot wait to see if they can do a Transformers 1 sequel, leading up to what's going to happen in the J.J. Abrams universe.
Yeah, I like this one overall. It was better than I expected, especially by the time I got to the third act. I'm like, okay, this is pretty fun and entertaining. I don't know if they'll do a sequel, though, because I don't think it did so good at the box office, right?
Yeah. It was terrible marketing that kind of led to
The Paramount Plus release.
yeah.
It came out fast. The Paramount
Release.
Plus. Yeah.
But Transformers 1, my number one movie of the year.
It was fun.
It was good.
I wonder if they'll call it the second one, Transformers 1, 2. Really confuse everybody.
That'd be hilarious.
My
Yeah,
brother
that would
was
be
a
good.
huge Transformers nut. He grew up in the 80s, original movie he got to see in theaters. And he went into this so excited and loved it. And I think that could be where they make another movie leading up to what we got from the original Transformers, if anyone's ever seen that.
Yeah.
But they could do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
All right.
the touch is iconic for many people. The touch, the song that came from the late 80s. It is such an powerful song.
All right, Rob, what was your number one favorite?
Alrighty, so my original number one was Dune Part 2, but I had to switch it up and go with what I originally, said. If somebody takes Dune, this will be my other number one. The main actress in this, I think, could possibly win the Oscar for best performance by a female in a lead, and that is Mikey Madsen and Honora.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Honora was fantastic. I saw it in November right after it came out, and people were saying stuff. It had very limited runs in theaters, like certain theaters. They're still playing it as like special showings, cheap showings. But it's just like this story about this girl who finds out that she's gonna be marrying into like this prestigious family, and her family does not like that. And it's just, she's from Brooklyn. She finds out how to get that accent. It's, being someone who's from Jersey and meets a lot of people from those areas. I really felt like this movie really touched on so much from that. And if you haven't seen it and you're interested, it's a fantastic film. I really think it could win a lot of awards this year. And that's my number one, Honora.
I have not seen this one yet.
Oh, they playing at Regal. They brought it back.
Yeah, it was there today.
Have it. Yeah, they brought it back for the award season stuff.
Ah.
So it's playing. I will say, Rob, I was not excited to see this because I don't. Okay, this is gonna be someone's gonna get mad at me, but I don't care. I don't love Mikey Madison. I only seen her in Scream, and
yeah, that's exactly it. So I thought from
she's
Scream
annoying.
to this, I thought it was fantastic.
She was amazing in this. And the other guy, the bald guy, loved him. Loved him. This movie's way funny, super chaotic.
You don't think it's gonna be super funny, but there's so much going on. The high energy, the great acting. I walked out going like, and it's not even that long of a movie.
No,
but I felt like it was great for that too. Is I feel like so many great movies that you see, like I had number one Dune 2 originally. That's almost that's 2 hours and 45 minutes. This was not even 2 hours long, and it was great.
I did see this sitting next to an old woman by herself, and it was awkward. I'll say that. If you're gonna watch this, away from others, she sat directly next to me, and I've never been more uncomfortable in my life. I kid you not. I was like, why is she sitting here? This theater, there's a lot of seats. Move. I almost moved. So there's a lot of adult stuff. I'll say it's very rated R, but it's a blast.
Yes.
And I will say this: Honora is getting a Criterion release in April. So, Mike,
that's weird.
Yeah. So, Mike, if you really want to see this movie, check the movie out in theaters, and if you really like it, Criterion is already up for pre-order for the next halfway Black Friday sale.
It's still not at my Regal. My Regal still doesn't have
your Regal is just doing you dirty.
Yeah, my Regal does not get a lot of stuff, unfortunately. So
this came out quite a bit ago. But I think we only at my Regal only had it for like 2 weeks, maybe. Yeah, so it was in and out of the theaters pretty quick.
I lied to you. No, look, Honora is playing at my Regal right there.
Oh yeah, you're in Orlando, Nate. You're in the spot. I'm around my cows. There's more cows that go to my theater than people, so we get what we get. Okay. All right, Dimension. What do you got?
All right, my number one was going to be Deadpool and Wolverine, but someone was always going to say that one. So I'm going with the third and final movie in the Venom trilogy, Venom: The Last Dance. I've had my guilty pleasure fun with these, not only with these Venom movies, but the entire Marvel Sony universe. So in this third adventure between Eddie Brock and Venom, once again, great romance between these two characters. It had an amazing, epic third final act with Venom and all these different versions of symbiotes taking on the evil something symbiotes from the planet that they were from. It is funny. It is fun. Venom dancing with Mrs. Chant in that casino was hilarious. Yeah. So when Venom sacrificed himself, it was sad, and it might set up another adventure with them, depending on Sony. But I think this is probably going to be it for the Sony Marvel universe for the time being. But as a movie itself, this Venom trilogy has been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I was okay with the Venom movies. I thought they were decent enough fun, and they were actually pretty consistent, all three of them. So, yeah. Did you guys see those?
It felt like Fast and Furious when Paul Walker passed away. Like, this was like his final movie. And when they released the music, the tears started to come in. This was an average movie for me, but when it got into the ending, it just went like, okay, this is not a terrible Sony Spider-Man universe movie, so I'm gonna put it right up there with not with Madam Web or Kraven the Hunter, but I did put it right. Yeah, I know, darn. But I put it up there with Carry On, which is a surprise thriller, and what's the other one? Moana 2. Which did made the list throughout. So Venom: The Last Dance, very good movie. Very good movie for me.
I gave it a 4 out of 10, so it was okay. I give it the same score as Kraven.
Oh man,
it's a Taco Bell movie, you know.
Yeah,
You hate that. You watched it. You hate that. You liked it. But you know, it's like Fast and the Furious. You go, you watch them. They're fun. They're crazy.
I
Then
love
you
the
walk
Fast and
out
Furious.
going, "Why'd I do it to myself?" Like, come on.
man, that was a fancy dinner for me. I got dessert included. Like, I went all out.
We're like, it's like Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, yeah, you know.
Hey, it's like the
No
Taco
way.
Bell and Demolition Man. Okay,
Just
bro.
some squirts on a plate. Fancy.
All right, Sunny, what was your favorite?
My favorite of the whole year, and this really comes from the heart because it really represented like the struggles of me and my family and the happiness of my family, it would be Migration. Because I used to live in Texas and I made a huge migration here, and like that movie just like made me and my mom cry and think like that's how far we've came.
That's a great choice. I have that movie on 4K myself, and my family loves that movie. It's super fun and entertaining. Great comedy in there. The voice cast. Awkwafina's really good when she shows up. So, yeah, I really like that. That's a delightful movie. Grant, did you like that one?
The movie came out right at the time of holiday 2023, but they didn't see it until 2024. So I'm counting this one as an acceptable 2024 release for physical media. But Migration was a really good movie. I'm not gonna lie, because it deals with the emotion, and I felt like this is like a comfort movie from animation. Like, you got the Super Mario Brothers, which came out the same year as Migration as well. But Migration, I loved the character Gwen, which Gwen was my favorite character out of all of them. Despite the minions being the worst characters, Gwen is my favorite icon of Illumination. And I don't care if she gets to be in the sequel. I don't care. Please give me more Gwen in Migration. I love her in the Migration movie. So Migration, my favorite movie of that 2023. But it is 2024, but it did came out in 2023. So I'm going to leave it at that.
But great choices from everybody tonight. For our last round here, we're going to be going over quickly our most anticipated films, because we do want to, not keep everybody here too long tonight. So we'll go quickly through our, I guess, 5 most anticipated films, or about 5, So yeah, let's just get into this right away. So Yes, this is going to be a great year for movies, superhero movies in particular. I'm very excited for Superman. Can we bring back the DC universe? I hope so. So let's go, Superman. But I'm also excited for the Marvel stuff too, like Captain America 4. I liked the trailer. I thought it looked like kind of a callback to Winter Soldier, like political thriller. So let's see. Let's see how it turns out, you know? Thunderbolts look super fun. We got these misfits all together, and it looks like it could be really cool. So and Fantastic Four, we're getting Fantastic Four after all these years. So the superhero stuff I am pretty excited for. Hopefully some of them land. I know we had Craven the Hunter. That's going to be tough to live up to, but maybe one of these films can do it. So high hopes there. Other stuff I'm excited for is like horror franchises that are coming back. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Let's see how that turns out. That's kind of interesting. If Saw 11 actually comes out this year, I don't know if it got delayed again, but that's going to be cool because Saw 10 was awesome. Even Until Dawn. I know people aren't excited for that trailer, but I thought it looked pretty cool with the time manipulation element. So horror looks to be having a promising year as well. And then even family movies. Paddington in Peru coming up here. You know, Paddington movies have never done me wrong. So I'm excited to take the family to Paddington in Peru. So I'm definitely excited for this year. Hopefully those turn out all good. But Nate, go ahead and let everybody know your most anticipated. Also, let's combo this where people can find you or anything like that.
Okay. 5 that I wrote down here. So number 1, these are kind of in release order. So they're just from what comes out closest to now to farthest. Hard Eyes. I love the trailer for it. I think it looks like a blast of a slasher. I'm a sucker for a slasher film, but like a studio slasher. I'm not going to lie. I don't always love the super low budget. Hard Eyes looks like a lot of fun. I have no idea what Sinners is about, but that trailer gets me hyped to watch it right away. I love Ryan Coogler. I like Michael B. Jordan a lot. I'm very interested to see what that is and what it's about. It looks, I don't know what even kind of movie it is, but it looks great. Number 3 for me, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I'm a huge fan of that whole franchise. They're so good. The action is amazing. I want to see how they wrap this thing up. 28 years later, finally. And the funny thing is, it's only like 25 years later, but I get it. It's fine. We'll just add a couple 3 years on there. I'm very excited to see. Very excited to see what happened. And Danny Boyle back. I love Danny Boyle, one of my favorite directors. And the last movie, now this is one that I would not have put on my list until I found out who's directing it. So I'm going to go with the remake or new version of The Running Man. Yes, I watched the Arnold one not that long ago. This one has Glenn Powell, who's like kind of the it guy right now. And I do like him. I think he's pretty charismatic. But Edgar Wright is directing it. And so anything he touches, it's a ticket sold for Nate. Yep. So I'm excited for those 5. As far as where you can find me, you can find me on Instagram, Netflix Reviews, here on YouTube, Geeks and Flicks. We will be going live for the first time in like almost 2 months this Sunday at 9 p.m. We'll have Turner Fan 77. He's going to be our guest. We're going to be ranking the Hunger Games franchise. So we'll be doing all 5 of those movies, little reviews, ranking the franchise. Action Movie Guys podcast is the podcast. Alex and I just review action movies. And I'll be back here next week with Mike. So that's where you could find me all around in the next coming weeks.
All right, Fish.
All right. Well, you guys touched on a couple of them already. Superman. I love the fact that we're going back to a more colorful and more lighter DC universe. Giving me the Christopher Reeve feels, you know, that nostalgia. I'm really excited about Superman. You already talked about Fantastic Four. I'm excited to... I enjoyed the Fox Fantastic Fours. I did, with Alba and Evans. And so I enjoyed those. I did not hear the greatest things about the reboot, so I'd never watched it. But I'm excited about this reboot because it's got Pedro Pascal. It's got some great actors in here. So excited about Fantastic Four. Hard Eyes, like Nate mentioned, I love a good slasher as well, and I love Devon Sawa. So I am really excited about that. Ever since Final Destination, Idle Hands, you know, Now and Then. So I'm excited about that. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I love that they're bringing back some some legacy characters in that. Wicked 2, of course, you got to wrap it up. You got to wrap up Wicked. And then my last honorable mention is going to be Companion. I just saw a bit of a piece of a trailer, and I didn't want to see too much more because right at the beginning of that trailer, it pretty much lets you know what's going on in the movie or what's going to happen. And I'm like, all right, stop. Okay, that got me. Love Jack Quaid. He's awesome. So really excited about Companion. I want to see what that's about.
Nice. How about you, Grant?
Every Disney movie of 2025, which is going to be a fantastic year for Snow White, Zootopia 2, obviously, of course, Lilo and Stitch, Freaky Friday 2, and of course, Tron 3. Every DreamWorks movie, The Bad Guys 2, the live action How to Train Your Dragon live action remake, the Dogman, which comes out in 2 weeks, and Gabby's Dollhouse, which will be ending in September. So, which will be the second one. Third is Wicked for Good. Fourth is every Paramount movie that is coming out throughout the year, especially with MI8 and Regretting You, and what's the other one? Oh, SpongeBob 4. SpongeBob 4 is coming out at the end of December, which I am excited for. And the fifth one, Sunny and I are maybe doing like a little bit of a double feature sometime very soon, but it's Avatar Fire and Ash, which I love the Avatar franchise. And you can follow me on Movie Buff Grant on Instagram. Coming up on my Instagram channel, I will be doing a full review of the terrible Sasquatch Sunset in full length, and it will be very mature and it will not be Sunny leveled. So I will be putting a disclaimer on that video. And other than that, me and Sunny will be back on Faces for Radio's channel for Sunny's High Five and my top 10 movies that I love personally. So with that being said, thank you, Mike, for having me and Sunny on, and we will be out of here in just a little bit after these three go in full detail of what their anticipated movie are.
All right, Rob, you're up.
Alrighty, so first I'll start out with you can reach me on Instagram at Rob the Harbarber, or you can follow my new movie podcast that I've been doing with one of my best friends at Grab Your Popcorn Podcast. That's on Instagram, that's on TikTok. But I have some honorable mentions as like we got Del Toro's Frankenstein coming, The Running Man, Avatar 3, Lilo and Stitch, Zootopia 2. But my top 5 would have to be at 5. I have Mickey 17, which I think looks awesome. I don't know much about it, which I'm excited about. Fantastic Four, Wicked 2. Then I have The Monkey, Ilio. And my top movie to see next year would be this year is Superman. I think James Gunn just has an eye for, great movies to build characters, because you have something like Guardians that no one really knew a lot about, and he was able to take those characters and make them into lovable characters that people know. And, if he made 4 or 5 of them, people would go watch them still. And I think he's going to do great with all the DC stuff to, I don't know, we're getting Batman and Brave and the Bold and all that coming up. So we'll see. But that's my top 5. And thank you for having me, Mike. It was a lot of fun to talk about movies we saw this last year.
And the mention.
All right. So first off, you can find me on YouTube, Dimension Scott. I also have a Facebook. I have an Instagram. As for what I got coming on my channel is I'm going to do some rankings for the MCU, for Star Wars, and I'm breaking down my entire collection. And as for my anticipated movies, first off is Ballerina in the John Wick universe now. starring Anna de Armas. I can't wait to see her kick butt alongside Keanu Reeves, John Wick, because this is before John Wick 4. It's set between John Wick 2, John Wick 3. I'm excited for Jurassic World Rebirth because I love dinosaurs. I love Scarlett Johansson. And from what I've been hearing, they're going to go to an island, and it's going to be written by somebody who did the original movie. Marvel Studios is Thunderbolts, which is going to be probably like Marvel's take on Suicide Squad. And I'm excited for Megan 2. I love the first Megan film. This movie looks like it's going to be take inspiration from Terminator 2 Judgment Day, where Megan is the protector, right? And as for Superman, I know there's a lot of pressure with this movie. It's supposed to be the savior of the DCU because James Gunn's in charge and all that. So I hope that's okay. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me on here. It's been great.
Of course. All right, Sunny.
My 2025 movies, a lot Grant said, because I agree with all of them, but Dogman, I've grew up on those books forever, and I'm so excited for Zootopia, and that's been my main. Lilo and Stitch, I always had a thing. I can even do his Stitch voice. And Captain America, and my very top one is Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Man, you said all the ones that are probably going to make $1 billion right there. At least 3 of those choices have the highest chance right there. So,
I do want to mention real quick at Movie Buff Grant, we are getting prepared for CinemaCon 2025, so you can hear some of the latest news coming out of that event at the end of March, and we will be getting ready for some of the announcements of 2026 and a little bit of 2027, but that will have to wait until March comes around. So with that being said, Mike, I'll let you have the floor, and thank you for having both me and Sunny on, and we would love to be back on again for a future video.
absolutely. And if you have not subscribed to these amazing people, audience, I have just one question for you.
What are you waiting for, huh?
I knew that was coming.
Right?
Mike, I'm sorry, I didn't say so, but thank you very much for inviting me to this. I always have a great time on your channel. This was a lot of fun. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I forgot to say so.
Thank you. The honor is all mine, of course. And then, Nate's here, so we got to play one more.
You got to hit it.
Think about if you're going to give us one more subscriber or not. Yeah. This is what you got to think about right here.
Help me get one more.
All you gotta do is help us get one more subscriber, one more video watched, one more feel like. That's all you gotta do.
One more like.
It's the best clip. Where he says, "Let me get one more." I love it. It's the best.
Yeah, and then for my channel, you guys know me, but I will point you to the community tab for the voting polls for the Poplar Awards. That's the next big live stream coming up. We have an amazing panel already set for that one. But we want to get more votes into those community polls. So we want to hear your voice. Your voice does count. So, and there's some close ones there. So yeah, definitely share them out, get the votes in there, and then get excited to see what wins some awards for Best Popular Movies next week. So that's it for me. But everybody else, have a good night out there.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Bye.